Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
Bonus episode. What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 202. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards, 50-year-old physique model and fitness trainer and owner of Train TB Fit Elite Club in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Welcome, Marcel Mayfield.
Hey, welcome. How's everyone?
We are perfect. Listen, why don't you share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
Awesome. All right. So let's see. Where do I start? I am 50 years old. I'm originally from Guyana, South America. I migrated to United States of America in 1994. Married to my husband, Anthony Mayfield, and we now reside in Lawrenceville, well, actually Beaufort, Georgia. But the business is about 2 miles from my home, and it's actually Lawrenceville. So we're in the Gwinnett County area of outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, I was a personal trainer for about going on 10 years at Gold's Gym in Decula, which was about 4 or 5 miles from where we are right now. And then Corona happened. So we got furloughed and went back to work. Things were slow. And my husband said, okay, now it's time to do your own thing. So we took the leap of faith and we decided to open Train to Be Fit Elite Club. And here we are. We're going on our third week of actually in operation.
Talk about launching in the midst of COVID-19 and a fitness business where it may or may not be a little bit difficult to do social distancing. Talk about that.
Yes, it was something that was at the back of my mind when we decided to go full speed ahead because of, the germs. And when everything happened, everybody was like, the gym is one of the, worst place to be for spreading germs and things like that. However, once the governor of Georgia opened up, the gyms back for business in May, we went back to work and we went through a little extensive training of, the procedures of what we have to do throughout the day as the members come in, wiping down, different things like that. So I brought that along with me and I implemented that here. And also I have a company that comes in once a week and spray at night. They do the fogger, they spray throughout the day. My staff cleans and wipes. The members are required to clean and wipe before they start working out, as well as when they're finished with that particular equipment. So we have stations set up around the gyms where they have everybody gets their own towel and the spray bottle. And of course they can change their towels as they choose to. But like I said, I did run into one person that signed up that had was a little concerned about, what was going on, is how many people at a time, and things like that. But this is a 3,000 square feet studio. So it's not very big, but the most we have in here at a time, I would say maybe 6 to 8 people at a time. I focus more on one-on-one training. So, and it's 45 minutes. So, there's a 15-minute overlapping where people come in and go. But we've been working. It's been going good so far. We do have a couple classes and we have the right fit class. We try to keep the bikes about 6 feet apart. I'm getting ready to launch a stretching class tomorrow. And we're going to try to have that distance as well. But it's working so far. It's not crazy overwhelmingly busy. And I think a part of it is because of the COVID, which is a blessing in a way. For a couple of reasons, in order for me to get acclimated with what's going on, get the wheels going on the business and all that. So I do think it's going to get to a point where I'm going to have to probably have people on a waiting list, because at the end of the day, the place is still small. And even if there was no COVID, I want to be able to focus on my clients and give them the quality of training that they deserve. But COVID, we're handling it. We're taking care of it as best as we can. So far, I have thermometer up front. I test people temperatures if needed to be. We have sanitizers and hand bottles with sanitizer throughout the gym. People can, wipe their hands. So, and there's signs posted everywhere as well. If they're sick, there's a big sign on the door saying that if they've been in contact with anyone that's exposed to COVID or they're not feeling well, not to enter.
Talk about financing your business. How did you finance your business,
Oh,
Marcel?
well. Well, when I first started, we thought about doing it. We went to visit one of my bodybuilder, because I'm a professional bodybuilder as well. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs that started their own business that's in my bodybuilding community. So I went and visited one of my friends that we competed together, and she referred me to a company that's for small business loans in Georgia here. And I went to the site and I was looking at the procedures and all that stuff. But she said to me, they only give me $20,000. And I'm like, $20,000 is not enough to start a business. So I said, okay. So I went and I looked at it, and a couple of days passed. And my husband, in the meantime, he got furloughed and then he got laid off. He was working with Enterprise Company for over 20 years. So it was surprising to us, especially to me, when he got let go. They got rid of his whole department. So I said to him, I said, honey, you need to call and find out what we're going to do with your retirement. Are we going to roll it over, or what are you going to do with it? And he, men took forever to do it. And finally, a couple of days in, he called them. And I was upstairs in the bedroom, and he came up to me and he said, we have our money to start our business. And I said, what? He said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, they told me because I'm vested, I've been with the company for 20 years, I can take up to $100,000 with no penalty, because I'm vested and because of COVID. They have some law that they pass. And I was like, oh my God. And that was it. That's where we got our money from. So we didn't have to go get a loan or anything. So that was a real blessing.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Marcel, what can we do right now to support your business?
Pray. It's like I said in the beginning, it's not crazily busy as yet, and I am so thankful for that, because I'm a type of person, I'm very contented. I was raised by my grandmama, and she always taught me about being contented with what you have at the time. So of course, everybody wants to be busy and make a whole lot of money, but at the same time, I'm also thinking of not getting burned out, being able to give the quality of service to my clients. And also making sure that everybody feels safe when they come in here. If it's not a million people in here and they're like elbowing each other. There's going to be times like at the grand opening, that was the case where everybody came and then the rain came down and everybody had to come inside. But I really don't want to promote too much of that because, like I said, at the same time, there is still COVID, going on. So people are still very much aware of that. But of course, my vision and long-term vision is to open up several trained to be fit facilities. So I guess, my wish would be that I'm able to stay healthy, do my job to the best of my ability, make sure I'm getting results for my clients, and then grow. Within the next 2 to 3 years, I would like to have at least 1 or 2 more facilities. So I would just ask for prayers and well wishes that, Train to be Fit takes off the ground. And I'm in the business of changing lives. Nothing makes me feel better than when one of my clients, transform their lives for the better. It's about a quality of life. It's not even about, like I tell my clients, it's not about looking good. That's the extra benefit. It's about quality of life, being able to do simple things without having to be labored, blowing for, climb the stairs and you're out of breath. Or even if you come to me and you're on diabetes medicine or blood pressure medicine, after 3-4 months, you're off your medication. That's a big deal for me. So, I hope that answered your question.
Speaking about quality of life and changing your life and transforming your life, talk about self-care in COVID-19.
Awesome. Okay, well, after COVID-19 happened, we were one of the Gold's Gym in this particular area was one of the last gyms to close down. So we were still going until almost the end of March when they forcefully, we had to shut down. So went home and I was still doing a lot of home workouts. I would post videos, do home workouts for a lot of the members of Gold's Gym. Because at this point, within the last 2.5 years, I was promoted from just being a master trainer, to the head of the department. So I was running the personal training department. So I really wasn't training one-on-one as much. But prior to that, I had a lot of clients that I had to pass on to other trainers because of my new position. So I still have relationships with a lot of these clients and members. And because I was in a position where I was the head of the department, everybody looked to me for certain things. Like we have a challenge every year, a Goals Gym challenge, and that was going on when COVID happened. The challenge wasn't over as yet. So I considered that like my baby every year. I was very much involved in that. We did accountability meetings every week for the challengers. And a part of the accountability meeting was we did a workout for the clients, for the members. So after COVID happened, we had to cut all that out. Nobody was allowed in the gyms. So I kept doing a lot of workouts at home, and I have a home gym. I would post workouts at home and just encourage them. Formed a lot of different group texts or, chats, and we would talk about, trying to make sure they stayed on track, at least until they finished the 90-day challenge. Because some of them were about 4 weeks in, 5 weeks in, and it's a 12-week challenge. Some was 8 weeks in. So yeah, it was very challenging. But that also gave me a chance to be able to stay on top of my physical as well, and making sure that I was getting my workouts in. So yeah, because I've never thought that I would have lived through something where this whole world would have shut down. It's crazy. Thank God that it's not worse than it was, and we coming out of it. And hopefully this is not our new normal.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Marcel, what are you most grateful for now in your life?
I'm grateful for a lot of things, actually. But most grateful, probably that innate ability that I have to keep going in spite of. I've had a lot of challenges physically as well with my health, and I kept going. Thank God for my church family and my husband and my immediate family support. So I'm most grateful for the fact that I have that. I tell my clients all the time, you're much stronger than you think you are. You just got to dig deep. You just got to dig deep. And how bad do you want whatever it is that you want? Do you want to live? Do you want to die? Do you want to stay the way you are? You want to be comfortable, or you want to get out of your comfort zone and grow. So I'm just so, very grateful for that. I have that in me, and nobody have to come on, and encourage me or whatever. I don't know how to explain it in better words, but yeah, and of course I'm grateful for my family and my loved ones.
Who is your ideal client?
Oh boy. All right. I said this to someone the other day. I think it was with another client. Every now and then you find a client that really wants it and they commit to the process. So I guess my ideal client would be a client that commits to the process. Now, let me explain that. A lot of people come in and they'll be like, well, I want to lose 20 pounds. And first thing I would ask them, okay, so what is the motivation? Because obviously there's a motivation behind why they're here in the first place. Is it the doctor told you need to lose weight? Do you have a wedding coming up? Are you going to the beach with your girlfriends? Whatever it is. And, because I want to make sure, that I understand where they're coming from. And then once I find that out, I said, well, okay, that's a start. However, motivation is temporary. It gets you through the doors, but discipline and dedication is what helps you along the way. That's what's going to make you get up in the morning and come when you're sore. That's what's going to make you stick to your meal plan. Because as we know, you cannot outtrain a bad meal plan. I don't like the word diet. It's a lifestyle. So it doesn't matter how much you train. If your meals are not lined up the way it should be, you're not going to see that result. So I tell them, I said, dedication and discipline is what's going to make you drink water when you should be, when you want to grab that soda, or what's going to make you not eat the bread off the table when you go to eat. Tell the server, just don't bring the bread, So when I find clients, and I can tell when my clients are doing what they need to do, because there's no way the way I train you that you shouldn't have results if you were doing your part. There's so much you can do as a trainer and a coach, but when the client leaves, it's up to them. You don't go home with them. So, every now and then you find a client that does commit to the process, and that's what I mean by committing to the process. But then there's also trust in the process. A lot of times they don't trust the process. They want to see overnight results. And I'm like, it takes time. It takes time. There's no magic word, or I can say abracadabra or nothing. You just got to go through the motions. You just got to do it. You just got to do it. And then eventually it's going to start. Your body's going to get in tune. Your body's going to start adjusting and adapting. Especially my women, they love to jump on the scale. I'm like, stay away from the scale. It's going to mess with you. Sometimes you're swapping fat for muscle. So your numbers are not going to show on the scale. Look at how your clothes are fitting you. You're losing inches, not necessarily losing weight just in numbers. So yeah, that would be my ideal client. Ones that trust the process and do everything I tell them to do. I know it's a lot.
Share your most successful story that you, in reference to a client.
Oh, I have a couple, but there's this gentleman, older gentleman that came to me about 8 years ago. He was very overweight, to the point where he had, and I don't really like to say this, but I'm just going to be really raw because sometimes that's the only way you can get it across to folks. He was so overweight to the point where he had a body odor. So he was on all his medication and all this stuff. And I worked with him and really, really coached him up because bad habits die slowly. And for you to really see changes, you got to keep doing the same thing for at least 21 days consecutively. So I worked with him. I told him, this is what we need to do. I laid out a plan. And like I always tell my clients, yes, you want to lose 40 pounds. All right, so that's your end goal. Now we have to make small goals in order to get to that big goal. So I laid out I think I did it where I said, look, every 10 days, this is where we need to be. Whether it be you lose 2 pounds in 10 days, you lose an inch around your waist or whatever it is. And in a matter of, I think it was like 9 months, he lost almost 80 pounds, got off all his medication, looked like a brand new person, walked with confidence, stress was up in the air, Yes, I think that was one of my clients that I really very, very proud that we were able to accomplish that. And he was an older gentleman too. He wasn't even young. He was in his 60s. So yeah, sometimes it's not even about age. It's how bad you want it. And you have to have a support team around you. So that's so important.
Now, do you do any training virtually?
Yes, I actually do. I have a group in Pennsylvania. I train Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 a.m. via Zoom. And then I have about 2 or 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 that I do in Virginia at 8:30.
Marcel, talk about your own personal fitness journey and how did you get into this career?
All right. Well, same. I was going to the Gold's Gym just to work out. And this was back in 2008, 2009. We had just moved to Georgia. And I was going to the gym and I had she was 13 months old at the time, my daughter. So I would leave her in a daycare and I would be there for at least 2 hours because that's all you can stay at the gym when you have a child at the daycare. They only give you 2-hour limit. So but I would be there working out and I always did classes. So I became a class junkie. So my body transformed because I'm the type of person, anything I do, I give 110%. I'm going to go all in. That's just how my grandma taught me. So obviously I was putting the work in and my body changed. And then after a while, my body hit a plateau. And that's what I tell clients all the time. You have to do different things because the body's going to hit a plateau. You're not going to see results. So I started, after my body hit a plateau, I started going on the floor and trying to work the machines and, the free weights by myself. I didn't really know nothing much about lifting or anything really. So, but I figured it out and I had one of the trainers, they would come up and give me a few pointers and stuff. And the head trainer at the time, he said to me, I think you should be a trainer. I was like, I'm an accountant because I'm an accountant by trade. I did accounting for 13 years prior to moving to Georgia. And I was in the process of looking for a job, but it was in 2008 when the market crashed and we were not hiring. So he's like, you should do it. I'm like, no, I'm an accountant. I don't know nothing about this. So he kept nagging me. And so I went home and told my husband, and my husband says, well, you might as well. You're there 2 hours a day anyways. So I said, okay. So I went back to him and I said, what does it take? He said, so we give you 3 months to go get certified. I said, you do that? He said, yes. And I did that and here I am. And it's been 10 years now, over 10 years. And I never thought it would have been as gratifying as it is. But it's actually, I think I was born for this. And it's amazing how sometimes things just fall into your lap. And that's why you have to really seize the opportunity sometimes and think about things and don't just brush it off. Because I'm so much more fulfilled and satisfied doing this than when I was doing accounting. I said, I'm so much more fulfilled and satisfied doing this than when I was an accountant sitting at a desk, because I love the fact that I can impact and change lives. And then the bodybuilding, he said to me, okay, well, I think you should do bodybuilding. And I was like, I'm not walking around half naked on stage. My husband would never go for that. And he's like, you should do it. So I was like, then I had one of my coworkers, she was doing it, and I started training with her, and she's like, oh my God, you have such great shoulders. I wish I had your body, and you do really good at this. And I was like, I'm doing that. I'm not doing it. And then I don't know. Then a couple years later, I said, okay, I'll do it. Nobody even really talked to me about it anymore. I just of my own said, okay, I think I'll try it. And of course, I told my husband. He was never to him. No, he didn't really want me to do it because he's so conservative. But and that's how I got into it. And then I did my first show, and I got hooked. And here I am. Yeah, but now I look at my body back then to my body now, and I'm like, I don't know which one I like better, because I do like the softer body as well. And it's to the point now where I'm like, I think I'm getting too muscular, So there's a thin line that you can, sometimes between, trying to find that medium or that balance. Yeah, but that's how I got into bodybuilding. I think I'm about to retire though.
From bodybuilding, not as a trainer.
No, not as a trainer, from bodybuilding. I want to train people to do it now. I want to coach competitors and to get on stage. But I'm 50 years old. I have grandchildren now. I'm getting older. It really, really takes up a lot of your life. It's you eat, sleep, breathe, workout, wake up, do the same thing. If you want to be competitive, if you want to be in the top 5 or the top 10, and I've never been less than top 10. So, because I'm very competitive, I have to win. Yeah. So knowing the type of person I am, if I can do that and go all the way, then it's no point for me. But I don't mind training people, and I also would love to be a judge one day for competitions. Yeah.
Speaking of winning, there are many brands and businesses that are super successful. Marcel, talk about a brand or business that's dominating that you admire and why.
In the physical, in the exercise fitness industry, or it doesn't matter?
Whatever.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Well, Amazon. I think Amazon is doing amazing. I just wish I had half of their the people that work for them and how they come up with all this stuff. And I feel like they're about to take over the world, because everybody ships. Everybody I talk to, I'm like, do you have Amazon? Of course you do. Who doesn't have an Amazon account? So I mean, and that's like total left field, but I mean, that's my vision. I want to take over the world. I've been telling Ivan when, we partnered up, and I says, this is my vision, this is my goal, and my goal is to just take over the world. And it doesn't have to be big. It could be small pockets and small pockets here. Just drop a train to be fit over here. Drop another train to be fit over there. Because also someone said to me, I don't think you should get away from the intimacy of your studio, because it's people love that intimacy, where sometimes like they related it to like when you go to a mega church and you don't even know the pastor, you just a number. So yeah, so I love Amazon. And then also I do admire Jillian Michaels. I don't know if you know who Jillian Michaels is. She used to be on The Biggest Loser. I like her style because she was no nonsense, and some people can deal with that. But for me, there's not a lot of gray areas, either black or white. So I totally get where she comes from. If you want it, you're going to go for it. Just do it. There's no way around it. I can't stand the excuses. Oh, like I'm training this young girl right now she's trying to get into the FBI. And so she has to do her physical, and she has to run a mile in so many minutes. She has to do so many push-ups in a minute, so many crunches. And it's like I'm training her, and she's complaining, oh, I got stitches, I'm getting stitches. I'm like, you can't think about that. You have to fight through the pain. Happy thoughts. You got a happy, because, it's going to happen until the body, I guess, adjusted. You have to push through it, and then after a while, the cramp is not even going to appear anymore. Or she's running on the treadmill, and I'm training her to run, and she's holding on. I'm like, there's nothing for you to hold on when you go there. You're all by yourself. And I said to her, and I had to have a heart-to-heart with her. I said, how bad do you want it? I said, first of all, I asked her when she got the list to see all the people that were doing the training. She was the only female. I said, you can't hide. There's no other female for them to compare you to. So you have to do your part. I said, how bad do you want? Do you want to show up and fail? Or do you just want to do it one and done? Get it out of the way. So I don't know, man. It's just hard sometimes when you find people that want it so bad and then people that think they want it. Make sense?
Talk about your top 2 influencers and what lessons did they teach you?
Okay, my top 2 influencers. One would be Lee Haney, Mr. 8-time Olympia. I really love the fact that he was able to do it over and over and over. That takes a lot to win the Olympia 8 times. He had to have a great support team behind him, including his wife and family. He had to have the discipline and dedication to be able to do this over and over. And I got a chance to meet him a couple of times because my very first bodybuilding competition was the Lee Haney show. And that's probably how I really got into it, because it was the Lee Haney. And I heard that he was getting ready to start promoting these competitions here in Atlanta. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do the Lee Haney. And so I got to meet him the very first year and, talk to him and pick his brain a little. So he's one of my biggest influencers that I really look up to. And then the current Miss Olympia, she's actually my posing coach. Her name is Sydney Gillon. She won the Miss Olympia 3 years in a row. And I got to really be in the midst of her company. She trains me for my posing and I talk to her. She's, what really blessed me was that she's so young. She started at like 14 following her parents because they were in bodybuilding as well. But she's 26 years old, so she could be my daughter, and the discipline she has and the sense, she's savvy, business savvy. She's not just doing bodybuilding. She's like capitalizing and doing everything else because she has the platform right now. And she just graduated college to be able to get to that level. And the first year when she did it, she was still in school studying. So yeah, those are my top 2, I would say.
You talked about a support team. Talk about your team.
My support team. Well, my biggest supporter is actually my husband. I would say my husband, outside of him wanting me to step on stage. He supports the eating, he supports the training, but the thing he has the problem with is the outfit. If I remember the first time and I showed him my outfit, he said, where's the rest of it? I'm like, that's what we wear. And he says, you're half naked, pretty much. So that's where the issue comes in with him. He supports everything else. But support team is important because I run into clients a lot of times and they'll be like, well, I'm trying to eat clean and my husband is bringing in the donuts. Or I'm trying to eat clean and they like to go out to eat all the time. And things, or they buy the alcohol, especially now. I mean, it's easy to say, well, you don't have it, but it's much easier if it's not in the house. Like I tell my clients, like I love sweets. I tell people I'm just like you guys. I have just learned how to discipline my body. So most times I just wouldn't buy it, so it wouldn't be in the house. But my husband, he pretty much eats what I cook. So I don't really have a lot of issue when it comes to that. So if I'm in prep, he eats my prep meats. He's not picky at all. But my family, my mom and my sisters and stuff, they are far away. My mom's in Canada right now. My sisters in Pennsylvania. And they support me from as much as they can. They're always encouraging me. We're so proud of you. Things like that. And then, of course, I have my coach. I have a coach. His name is Kevin Wilson. He's an IFBB pro as well. He's very, very supportive. Always holds me accountable. Accountability is key because a lot of times, sometimes, you just don't want to do anything. Doesn't matter. And if you have somebody say, hey, what you doing? Come on, let's do. Because prime example, I was not really planning. I was kind of planning on doing a competition this year. But because I started the business, I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't do it. And a couple of weeks ago, he texted me and he says, hey, I need you to do this competition in December. And I was like, uh-oh. So then I texted him back and I said, you know what? Thank you for texting me because I was pretty much shutting I was not going to shut it down for this year. And he says, no, you need to keep going. You have to find that balance. And he's right. But then now I have to deal with my husband because he's like, I don't think you need to be doing any more shows, so, oh yeah, yeah. But for my support system, I would say my coach, my parent, my mom, my siblings and my husband. And I have a great team around me, like Ivan. He's so supportive and he pushes me, and he's always has great things to make me feel good, say to me and make me feel better. And then I have a few staff members. And of course, if they didn't believe in me and believe in what I'm doing, they probably would not even come work for me. So, yeah, I would say that. And of course, my clients, they love their trainer.
Marcel, you talked a great deal about discipline.
Yes.
And when I think of discipline, I think about grit. But share with our audience, if they need discipline, what would you recommend?
Oh, discipline. My discipline started with being raised by my grandmom. Very strict. I'm from Guyana, South America. It's a very third world country. You grew up getting spanked. It's not like America. You get spanked by the whole village. I grew up in a small village, and the saying where it says it takes a village to raise you. That is very true where I'm from. Probably not now because this is about over 30 years ago. Yeah, I grew up really, really very strict, and then to cap it off, I went to the military. So I had that discipline as well. I was in the military. So a lot of people says to me, sometimes they will ask me like, what you used to do before? And I say, well, I used to be in the military. And they'd be like, oh, that makes sense. But I think it's an innate thing that you have within you that you have to develop. If you have it, you have to work and develop it. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like teaching someone to, like my boss from my former job used to tell me, you got to teach your trainers how to sell. And I'm like, I can't teach somebody how to sell. You got to have it in you. And then you have to nurture it. And then it gets better. So discipline to me is you have to want it bad enough, and you have to work on whatever little bit you have, and then it gets better and better. It's a daily thing. It's a daily thing. And you can't just wake up and say, okay, I'm going to go run 2 miles today. You got to start where you're at, and then you have to stretch a little more, stretch, and then it becomes a lifestyle. But discipline is very key. And anybody can do it, I think. It's just how bad they want it. Because we all have a little bit of it in us. It's just a matter of how bad you want it.
Marcel, let's shift gears for a moment. Talk about the worst moment in life. Your business is very young, so I don't know if you have an experience. I normally ask the question, share your worst moment in life or business. So I will let you decide which way you want to spin it.
Is it personal or business?
You decide.
Okay. Well, like you said, my business is young, so I really don't have. I would say my worst moment was when I lost my grandmom. Like I said earlier, she raised me. I consider her really like my mom, but even though she didn't give birth to me, she instilled all the great values I have. I always can depend on her if I had a bad day to call her, and she would give me words of wisdom. And I still sometimes always reflect back if I'm having a bad day on some of the things that she would say to me. Like my boss used to say, oh, I've learned so much things about your grandma, because I would be like, my grandma says, my grandma said this, my grandma said that, my grandma said, let sleeping dogs lie. My grandma said, if you can do anything, do it to the best of your ability. So yeah, I would say losing my grandma was my worst so far. Business-wise, I'm not looking forward to anything bad. I'm looking forward to just flourishing and paying back and giving back to the community and being able to do my part and create a legacy. At the end of the day, that's my ultimate goal, to create a legacy. So when I'm gone, people be like, okay.
Speaking of legacy, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone with a good heart, someone that loves people, that wants to see everyone succeed. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the fitness industry, but overall succeed overall in life. And when I say it has to be a lifestyle, I tell my clients, it's across the board. It's the same principle across the board for everything. The way you work out, the way I tell them, whatever you put in life, that's what you get out of life. And there it goes back again to how bad do you want it. If you know that you have a test tomorrow morning, like I used to tell my children, you got to study for your test. You have to be prepared. My grandmom says, fail to prepare is preparing to fail. So you have to be prepared for whatever life throws at you. So I want to be remembered for encouraging people and inspiring people to live their best life, whatever that is.
Talk to a younger Marcel. What advice would you give to a younger you?
I would tell my younger self to go after every dream or every little thought that you thought that you wanted to do. Go for it. Like, for instance, I always wanted to be a flight attendant because I grew up looking at the flight attendants in my country, and they used to call them, back in the day, they called them air hostesses. And I used to be like, I want to be air hostess. I remember I was a kid and I used to say that to myself. I said, they're so pretty and they dress so nice. And I always like to travel. I want to be able to get on a plane and just, do that for a living. And what's better than doing something that you love and get paid for doing it? So I remember one year I decided to apply, and I applied to the flight attendant school, and lo and behold, I got accepted. And I was like, yay. So it was something on my bucket list that I did. And I am so glad that I did it. But there's other things that I wish that I did. Like, I always wanted to be to do triathlons, but I'm scared of water. I don't like swimming. I'm just have this terrifying of water. So that was one of the things that made me never, get into the whole training. But yeah, I would tell myself I wish that I had learned how to swim when I was younger. I'll tell myself to get rid of all fears, because fear cripples you. Like I tell my clients, if you have a fear of something, it's going to cripple you from doing whatever you need to do. So that's what I would tell myself.
Looking back over your life, what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Probably being able to come to America and help my family. Because like I said, I grew up very poor. For the younger people that are listening, I don't know, they probably may not know where Guyana is, but it's the country where I know people remember Jim Jones when he went to when he went there and he had the cult and all these people drank Kool-Aid. So it's not really a big, people don't know much about Guyana. Everybody thinks I'm from Jamaica when they hear my accent. But I'm actually from the only English-speaking country in South America. It's bordered by Venezuela and Brazil. But we're the only English-speaking country. So I grew up really poor, not having food to eat a lot of the days. And my grandmom just had this faith. She always had this enormous faith that, no matter what it is, how bad it is, at the end of the day, it's going to be all right. And I remember a lot of times she would be like, she would be opening the cupboards. And I'm like, Granny, why you keep opening the cupboards? She says, because I know God is going to just put food in these cupboards. Somebody's going to knock on the door and bring us something to eat. And before the end of the day, it always happened. So, but anyways, they had the neighbors across the street, and they were very well off, and they had family in America, and they would, visitors and stuff. And I'd be like, I want to go to America. And I just had this in me that I was going to be the one for my family to get the opportunity to go to America and then help my other family. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know anything. And it ended up being me. I got chosen. I was in the military back home, and because of my grandmama again, how she taught me about attacking everything and doing everything to the best of my ability, it came around where they had to select somebody from my department to go to Barbados for a hurricane awareness convention. I went to Barbados, and I met a very good friend of mine. She became a friend of mine from the Bahamas, and she invited me. She said, I'm going to send a letter to invite you to come to America. And I said, would you do that? And she said, sure. So I went back home and forgot about it. And then a couple months later, the letter came, and I had to take it to my brigadier general, the chief of staff of my army back home, because I had to get an American visa to be able to come to go to the Bahamas, because I had to in transit. And I'm telling all my story now, but who cares? I'm a citizen now. So he said to me, he said, my maiden name is Welcome. He said, Welcome, are you going to come back? And I said, yeah. So I went, he gave me the letter, I went to the American embassy, I got the American visa, and the rest is history. That's how I came to America. Like I said, I think you missed the part because you got up. I was saying that I knew I was going to be the one in my family to be able to come to America and help my other family. So that's what I'm most proud of.
And thank you for that. And I so appreciate you being just amazing. I had to get some lemon water. So
that's okay. That's all right.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? And I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I see myself in 10 years having at least 6 more Train to Be Fit clubs. I'm so serious. I wish I can duplicate myself, but I can. But that's where I would like to see myself having 10 more clubs, at least 10 more clubs, at the ripe age of 60 and getting ready to retire, maybe about 4 or 5 years later, and just enjoy my golden years with my husband. But yeah, I still would like to be, even after I retire, I would like to like travel the world and give motivational speeches on how to take care of your health and how to take care of your body, because I'm going to be looking still fly at 60 and on. So that's my goal. So that's what I would have asked myself.
Do you see your family, your children or grandchildren taking over the business?
Maybe my grandchildren, my boys, they're into their own thing. One is he actually, I'm very proud of him too. He actually just went to a little shop and he's into fixing cars and things like that, mechanical work. And then the other one, he's straight corporate. So I don't really see that. I mean, of course, they're proud of us and all that, and they would come around, but I don't see them really doing this. My daughter, she's only 11, so I don't really know. But I have a little granddaughter and a grandson. Maybe they would. But I tell my daughter, I says, this is, going to be your legacy. I want you to be able to run this. But she doesn't pay me no mind right now. She's busy still doing her own thing. If I can just get her to stay off the phone. These young people on these phones is unbelievable. But yeah.
Marcel, what drives you every day to get up and do what you do?
My love for what I do. I was saying earlier, there's no other greater blessing than getting paid to do what you love to do. I truly, truly enjoy what I do. I tell people there's no way I would wake up at 3:45 a.m. every day, whether it was my own business, because even though it wasn't my own business and I was working at Gold's Gym, I did the same exact thing. So, of course, when you have your own business, it's a little more personal. But I just love what I do. I love the aspect of working out. I love transforming clients. I love everything about it. I love the benefits of it. Yeah, so I guess that's my alarm clock.
We come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I want you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass.
Okay.
Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
Yes.
The last movie you saw?
Last movie I saw. Oh my God. What was the last movie I saw? Oh, I can't remember. That's part of being 50. Oh my God. What was the last movie I saw? I can't remember, honestly. What about if I answer my favorite movie? Oh, okay. Could it be a replay? Could it be one that's not new? Because my husband makes me look at all these movies over and over.
Whatever is the last movie you saw.
The one with Matt Damon. No, that's Tom Cruise. Matt
We'll
Damon, man.
We'll pass that one.
Okay,
We'll pass
okay.
that
I'm
question.
sorry.
You relax doing what?
How do I relax? I'm getting a massage. I love massages.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Oh, that's easy. Whitney Houston.
Your favorite dance song?
My favorite dance song, Night Fever, Saturday Night Fever.
What food do you eat every week, no matter what?
That is a trick question. My coach is listening. Okay, Asian food.
Your favorite month?
December. I love Christmas.
Your first job?
My first job. What was my first? I worked as an insurance agency in my country.
Hit the gym or hit the couch?
Oh, definitely the gym. All day, every day.
Marcel, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and all of your social media handles?
Awesome. It was a pleasure being here as well. Thanks for the opportunity. Well, you can follow me on at Train to Be Fit Instagram, TRAIN, T as in Tom, B as in boy, FIT, at Train to Be Fit. That's our Instagram page. On Facebook, it's Train to Be Fit for Life. So just add for life on the back of Train to Be Fit. And our website is www.traintobefit.com. And then my email is Marcel, Marcel, at traintdfit.com. Any questions? Welcome. Any questions you may have? Anything I can help you with? Even if it's someone out there that's listening that really, really needs help and they can't afford to pay for a personal training, contact me and I'll do my best to help in whatever way I can. And it was a pleasure. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.